In this video, I will show you how I used a few basic materials and some soil wooden plants to build myself a greenhouse terrarium ecosystem from start to finish. I started building the enclosure using glass panels that were cut to size by an expert. Isopropyl alcohol was used to clean up any marks or oil residue, and masking tape was applied on all the edges to keep things clean. Corner clamps were used to secure the glass in place during the application of black silicone sealant to join and seal the panels. The edges were smoothed out using a plastic card. I used double-sided tape to create a sort of rest for the front and back panels, which were carefully placed on them and sealed off in a similar fashion. I allowed the silicone to cure for 24 hours and removed the masking tape from the outside. The cured silicone edging on the front panel was carefully cut with a blade to create a door that will be supported by the silicone on the left side, acting as a hinge. Now I can remove all the double-sided tapes and masking tapes from the inside. I also added rubber feet at the base of the enclosure to protect the bottom panel. Finally, the glass was cleaned up once again using isopropyl alcohol. The finished glass enclosure, measuring 12 inch in height, 8.5 inch in width and 6 inch in depth, is now ready for making our greenhouse terrarium ecosystem. I will be using LECA, which stands for Lightweight Expanded Clay Aggregate, for creating a drainage layer. It is essentially a false bottom to store any excess water. Our goal for the build is to keep it lightweight, and LECA is the perfect choice in this case. I placed a window screen mesh above the LECA drainage layer. This will prevent the substrate from falling into the gaps of the false bottom and clogging it up completely. The terrarium substrate mix is the most essential part of a terrarium ecosystem. It has all the properties that plants need to thrive inside a closed space. It is prepared by mixing 2 parts of cocoa fiber and 1 part each of sand, dry sphagnum moss, pine bark, and activated carbon. It also includes half a portion of aqua soil, which will be the immediate source of nutrients for the plants in their new home. I decided to use this piece of driftwood for the hardscape. I think it has a unique shape and character that will complement the enclosure and the plants I am about to add. For the background, I have picked up this Dryopteris cordata, also known as the antenna fern. The plant was taken out from its spot and the soil was partially removed, taking care not to damage the main root ball. I tried a left placement before settling down with the plant on the right side of the enclosure. More soil was added and brushed around to lock the plant and wood in place. I added 2 mini bulbitis ferns on both sides of the wood to soften the impact of the bigger fern in the background. A Hemigraphis repanda was positioned alongside the fern in the background, and another smaller one was added on the left to add a bit of color and texture. I started adding moss to cover the ground, which will help to tie everything together. A few patches of moss were also tucked in between the cracks and crevices of the wood, just like it happens in nature. I proceeded to plant a green Fittonia cutting on the right of the wood. Another red Fittonia cutting was planted to the left. I dropped in some crushed lava rocks in the foreground and brushed them around for a natural look. Two cuttings of Ficus pumila minima were placed on the wood. They are expected to climb up, creating an interesting visual once the terrarium matures. Another cutting of a Fittonia red was placed in the foreground. Also added were 2 cuttings of watermelon begonia. I added crushed bits of dried leaves in the foreground for a little more detailing. The terrarium was misted heavily and springtails were added to keep any mold outbreaks in check. The greenhouse terrarium is now complete. I hope you enjoyed the start to finish process for this build. Consider subscribing to the channel for more botanical projects if you haven't already. Thank you and see you in the next one.